So as some of you know, I recently left New York City to start my next adventure, van life. And while I'm building my van, I need a place to stay. I actually stayed with my parents for about a month, and then I was like, all right, it's time to find my own place. Because if any of you have moved away from home and then moved back with your parents, it's not that fun. And if you've watched my New York City apartment tour, you know I am a little bit picky when it comes to finding a new apartment. So I did have a few things that I really wanted in an apartment, but being that I wasn't planning on staying there that long, I was okay if I didn't find everything I was looking for. But the main things that I was looking for were that I wanted to be in an older building, I wanted it to have hardwood floors or cement, and then I wanted the rent to be under $800 a month. So the first apartment I looked at was in a building called the Flatiron. Basically, it's like a mini NYC Flatiron building. It was so freaking cute. And right when you walk in, it had this beautiful original staircase that wrapped all the way towards the top. And then in the middle of the building was this really cool space. Now this was kind of like a 1-bedroom / studio apartment for $850 a month. And it had recently been remodeled, and it had like a few vintage charms like this exposed brick, but it was super small. It didn't have a living room, and it had carpet in the bedroom, which, if you know, I am not a fan of carpet. The next place was a 2-bedroom for $1,200 a month, and it had these big, beautiful, tall ceilings, but a 2-bedroom was just too much space for me. The third apartment I looked at was in this really old building. It was built in like the late 1800s, and it actually used to be a flower factory. And this apartment was kind of like an artist loft. It had these really, really tall ceilings and lots of natural light. I actually really liked this apartment. It had lots of that vintage charm I was looking for. And it even had a fire escape, which totally reminded me of New York. It was a little bit sketchy though. But rent here was $1,200, and the kitchen was pretty crappy. I feel like in the video it doesn't look that bad, but in person it was just not good. And then it had this weird little space which was behind the kitchen. It was right when you walked in the front door, and it was kind of like your closet was below with no doors. And then I guess above it, if you wanted to put your bed, you could do that. If I moved here, I wouldn't put my bed there. I'd just leave it out in the main area. And then the bathroom was right here next to it. This place was kind of cool, but overall I just wasn't really into it. This next place was so cute and super affordable. It was a 1-bedroom for only $650 a month. And it had so much of those vintage charms, like the wood floors throughout, the radiator heating, and just like small little vintage details that I really like. And it was a corner unit, so it had lots of windows, which allowed for lots of natural light. Then the kitchen had a little space for a table, kind of like a mini dining room, I guess you could use it for. I thought it was cute. And then it also had its original sink and cabinets from the 1940s. And then it had this back door which led to an alley in the back, which I thought was pretty cool. Then surprisingly, the bedroom was pretty big, and there was a closet in here. There was also a closet in the entryway, like when you first walk into the house. And my favorite part about this apartment was the bathroom. I mean, check this out. The original tiles, the medicine cabinet, the sink, the radiators, and the tile on the floor. It's just so freaking good. And I actually looked at another apartment in this building, and it was identical to this one, but I had to show you the bathroom. This one is all green, but it has the same features as the other one. It's all original. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but shit like this just, I don't know why, it just really does it for me. Now this next apartment was on the first floor of a house, and you had the whole floor to yourself, and it was $750. What I really liked about this apartment was the fireplace. I've always wanted an apartment with a fireplace, especially a working fireplace. Then it also had the original hardwood floors, and next to the fireplace it had these built-ins on the wall, which I really liked. Then it had this middle area, which I guess would be the dining room, and then through these French doors it had a really small bedroom, and the bedroom didn't have a closet, which I didn't really like that. They had just updated and renovated the kitchen, which was nice, but this place only had one small closet, and the shower was like in this weird kind of nook in the bathroom. So this one was kind of just like a no-go for me. So I had looked at quite a few apartments by now, and I wasn't really finding what I wanted within my price range. I really did like the one bedroom for $650 that had that vintage bathroom, and I was actually about to ask for an application when I started thinking about my old apartment that I used to live in. So backstory real quick, the city that I'm living in now, I actually used to live here before I moved to New York City. I didn't grow up here, but my parents at the time had recently moved here, and I was getting out of a really shitty relationship, and I just wanted a fresh start. So I came here for 2 years, saved my money, and then moved to New York City. So anyways, before I moved to New York City, I used to live in this really cheap apartment. It was $585 a month, and it was perfect. I loved it. So when I was apartment hunting, I was thinking, oh my gosh, how perfect would it be if I could just find my old apartment? So I drove by one day just to see if there was like a for rent sign, or maybe if it looked like nobody was living there. And I drove by with my mom, and we were both like, it looks like nobody's living there. Like, you could just kind of tell it just looked empty. So I actually called the rental agency to see if the place was available. And they told me somebody had just moved out like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's meant to be. Like, what are the chances that it became available like right as I'm looking for an apartment? So I set up a time to come and view the apartment just because I wanted to make sure it was the same as when I had lived there, because it had been a few years and maybe things had changed. So this is how the apartment looked like when I actually lived here a few years ago. But as you can see, it has really nice hardwood floors. It's a pretty big space. It has these really good like vintage accents that I like. And all around, it's just a really good deal. So here's the tour I took of my old apartment. Once inside, you go up a set of stairs to the second floor, and then this is where the apartment is. So right away, you have these beautiful hardwood floors, and then there's this amazing original wood built-in. Then check out this clawfoot tub in the bathroom. It is so good. And it has radiator heating. It has a built-in medicine cabinet, the sconce lighting. The sink is kind of blah, but you have everything else going on. I can deal with that. And then moving on to the bedroom, which is actually a pretty good size, and it also has lots of natural light. And then it has a pretty big closet. Then you move into the living room, which is also pretty big. And it also has this huge walk-in closet. Like, look at this. It is so big. You can put so much stuff in here. Then more sconces on the wall, and the kitchen has these 1940s cabinets and one of those big vintage farmhouse sinks. Also has a radiator and just lots of nice light in here. But wait, there's this little secret closet in the back, which leads into kind of like storage space. And oh, there's another door which goes to the attic. It's definitely a little bit creepy up here, but when I lived here before, I actually used this as like a photo studio, and it worked out perfect for that. I mean, it's so cool because not only do you get the second floor, but you also get the whole third floor of this house, which you can do basically whatever you want to do up here. It looks like the people who lived here before had some kind of party up here. So right after viewing it, I told them I loved it and I really wanted it, especially for $585. I mean, that was such a good deal. Sadly, they told me the rent had gone up and it was now $650, which is still super affordable. So a few days later, I gave them my deposit and was super excited to move in. So of course, the day after I gave my deposit, I got a call from these apartments that I was really interested in. These apartments are actually artist lofts, and you have to be an artist to live in them. They have studios and one bedrooms, and they range from $500 to $700, and they're really big spaces. The thing is, they're in such high demand that you have to go on a waiting list because people don't move out that often. By now, I'd already been on the waiting list for 6 months, but when I applied, they told me it would probably be a year before they called me, so I really wasn't expecting a call. And she had called me and told me that they had 2 units available. Again, I had already given a deposit that was non-refundable, but I was really interested in these apartments, so I was like, let's go look at them. So this is the first of the 2 apartments that were available at these artist lofts. This is a 1-bedroom for $685, and look at how tall these ceilings are. Then there's a pretty big closet in this living room type space, and then on the opposite wall is where the kitchen is. And this is the bedroom. Again, it has those super tall ceilings, the exposed brick, and it has these kind of built-in shelves on the wall, which I don't love, but there's not a closet in here, so that makes up for it. The bathroom has one of these big exposed beams, which I love. Then each unit comes with your own washer and dryer, and you have control of your heat and central air. Then I looked at this $500 studio where when you come in, you kind of have like this little entryway, and again, the super tall ceilings. In the bathroom is the washer and dryer, and then kind of cool, they have one of these really big basin sinks because again, the building is full of artists. And then this is the studio space. And this unit was on the corner, so it had 5 of these super tall windows, which they just brought in so much light to the space. Then the kitchen is along one wall, and again, you can see that they have that really nice bright artist lighting in here. And then there's another huge closet in this room, so you have 2 pretty good sized closets. So after looking at the Artist Lofts, I really did like them, but I felt that the studio was a little bit too small and the 1 bedroom was a little bit more than I wanted to spend. So I talked to the lady and she actually said that I can stay on the list, and as apartments became available, she would just call me and let me know. And then if I decide that I find one I like, then of course I can move in. And actually each unit in this building is different. So maybe one has exposed brick walls or one has more exposed wood. So they all have like different features and they're all different prices. So I decided just to stick with my old place. I had already put a deposit down. I'd lived there before and I knew I'd already loved it. So now I just had to move in. And of course, that means taking all the boxes out of my parents' basement and loading them into the trailer. Got everything all loaded up in the trailer. Really helps when you don't have a bunch of furniture. Then I have like all my clothes in the car. And this is how it looked after I got everything unloaded. Of course, being the perfectionist and OCD organizer that I am, I had to start putting stuff away that night because all that clutter just kind of hurts my brain. So I just did a few things, made it so I could sit down and have a meal, hung up a few plants. Then I attempted to hang up the shower curtain, but realized I needed 2 more liners and tons more hooks for the shower. And actually, I got most of the boxes put away. So obviously I'm in my new apartment now. I've actually been living here a few months. And yes, don't worry, I'll be giving you guys a tour soon. But guess who called me last week to let me know they had an apartment available? The Artist Lofts. You guys, I went and looked at this apartment. Oh my gosh, it is like everything I've been looking for. It has so much vintage character to it. If I wasn't living where I am now and tied to a lease, I would have totally moved into this place. It's so gorgeous. But I just had to show you guys, check it out. So this is a 1 bedroom for $685, and just wait until you see the living room. It is so cool. So we're coming in the front door here. You have a nice little place to hang your coats, and then right when you walk in the door is where the bathroom is. Again, you have your own washer and dryer, and then there's another one of those big artist sinks in here. Then coming out of the bathroom to the left is one of the first big closets. The closets in these apartments are always so big, it's kind of crazy. And it has another one of those big beams in here, which I already love. And then we move right into the bedroom and check out these arched windows and these high ceilings. Like, can you just imagine waking up in here every morning? And I really like how deep these window sills are. You could put a lot of plants on there. Once you leave the bedroom, you walk down a short hallway and wait till you see this living room. Are you ready? Oh my god, check this out. It has the matching arch windows with so much light, and the ceilings are crazy tall. And along the opposite wall is your kitchen. Check out those 2 large beams on either side. Okay, but just wait, I saved the best for last. There's one more thing. So you see this black door right here? You're never going to believe what this is. It's original from the early 1900s. It's a safe. So it has this really big heavy door on the front. And then inside it has another door, which is kind of like these 2 French doors. And once you were inside, it was so echoey in here. So this is actually the original safe that was put in the building when it was built. I mean, come on, this is such a cool, unique apartment. I really wish I could have moved into this place, but unfortunately it just wasn't the right timing. And if you've made it this far in the video, I have some really exciting news for you. If you follow me on Instagram, you might already know this, but last week I bought a van. It'll actually be here this week. I had to special order it, but it's just a big empty shell. So as soon as it gets here, I'm going to start building it out by myself. My brother will probably help me a little bit, but I'm going to be designing it and planning it all on my own. And of course, I'll take you guys along for that entire process. So if there's anything you want to see or know, maybe about van life or when it comes to building a van, just let me know in the comments so I can make sure to include it in my videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
You moved out from the East Coast, California snow. You couldn't handle all the winter